Three really important things to discuss here with you on a chilly but still lovely North Texas evening. Three things, that's right, three things. Thing number one, machine. Thing number two, gun. Thing number three, fish. If you are a long-time fish for luncher, or you listen to us now on 105.3 The Fan, you've probably heard this in its two greatest iterations. Is that a word? Iterations? Nightcap, by the way. Only one. They say it's good for the heart, or I don't know. Fish for lunch, and then on 105.3 The Fan, we used to call it machine gun fish. Item. You familiar with what I'm talking about? Listen, there's 20,000 of you now. I work on the assumption that 3/4 of you know what I'm talking about, and the other thousands will catch up. Item. And then it was genius, if I may say so, because it was a way to do a radio segment where, okay, and let me tell you who's good at this in Dallas. Sean Sharif is good at this, and I know that because I've co-hosted with him when Choppy's asleep or sick or has pink eye or playing golf or something. If you do a 3-hour show like I used to do, you need 5 hours of show. You need to prepare to do 5 hours of show. You need to walk out of there at the end of noon to 3 as we used to. Me and Justin Frizzell and Derek Johnson and Frito, who was a big part of what we did. The whole Tammy and Kim and the whole gang. And we'd walk out of there. I hope I'm not leaving anybody out, am I? Justin Frizzell, the old redneck. And we'd walk out of there with 5 pages worth of stuff we didn't get to. That's how you show prep. And Sean Sharif, Sean, I know you're watching. Very good at the same thing. Sean will send you the night before, he'll send you a list this long. Here's what we're going to talk about. And you're looking at it knowing we're never going to get to all that, but good. We're prepped. We can get rid of the stuff that doesn't work. We can cross this out. We can change this. And we can save something for tomorrow. So, Machine Gun Fish was a good way to, hey, listen, I got 14 minutes. And I got a lot of things to say. Sometimes they're just one sentence. Or sometimes they're one sentence and we'll build on them later. So here we go. Oh, one more thing about Machine Gun Fish. And this sucks. I'm not a gun guy. I'm fine as you are. If you are, as long as you don't shoot me. I'm not a gun guy. But this is something that has changed in this country somehow, to where, like, the idea of a machine gun, which used to just be like comical, unless you were actually participating in a war. It was a cartoon to the rest of us. You know, it was gangster movies. Now it's become so real that about, I don't know how many years ago, this was probably 6 years ago, somebody told us, you don't do machine gun anymore. It's too sensitive. It's too sad. It hurts people. And who can disagree? We're going to do it here. I bet you it'll catch on, but I want you to avoid the temptation of putting in the comments, machine gun, how dare you? My uncle was, I know, we're just, let's have some fun with Machine Gun Fish. Item. Dak Prescott is going to sign with the Dallas Cowboys, and he's going to sign a $40 million deal, and it's going to be a long-term deal. I truly believe that. We've written about it a lot and talked about it a lot at cowboyssi.com and at 1053thefan.com. But odds makers have set new teams for Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun Watson leaves Houston, what'll his new teams be? And the Jets and the Bears are all on top of it. But the Cowboys are in there at 20-1. I'm going to pose this question, and I'm going to rely on your comments below to guide me. Do you want me to take 10 minutes someday and really talk about Dak leaving Dallas to be replaced by Deshaun? Do you think it's ridiculous? Do you think it has merit? Do you believe that I might be able to come up with formula? Do you think it's a bunch of hoo-ha? Let me know in the comments below. But 21 odds. And this isn't clickbait. These are gamblers. They don't care about your clickbait. They want your money. Item. Mental illness, and we did a video on this. And the mental illness in sports is certainly a focus because of what I do and what you are interested in. Mental illness in my family and in your family, it's a struggle. And once again, I thank Dak. I thank Roger. I thank Mark Cuban for what he's doing with Delonte West. I thank Delonte for his cooperation with me back in the day. Delonte once told me, humorously and sadly, I said, we're going to do an interview. I said, can I ask you about your multiple personality disorder? Which is a hard question to ask. And he said, yeah, Fish, ask me about it because I'm comfortable with it because they're all me and I love them all. And it was really funny. That's really funny and really horrible. So I appreciate Delonte West's journey. And I urge you again, and I'll put that phone number again up in our copy in this video. Reach out. And if somebody reaches out to you, listen. Item. We get caught up in the hyperbole of what we're told, especially when it's sexy or it's cool, or we've done that with the Dallas Mavericks. Mark Cuban obviously is a lot of great things. I've known him for 26 years. I knew him when he was just a millionaire, way before he was a billionaire. In fact, that is an Uncle Fish story. Now, I thought the Michael Irvin and the Playboy Club was an Uncle Fish story, but this one's not bad either. By the way, if you haven't seen that, it's getting rave reviews. Mike Fisher, Michael Irvin, the Brown Derby, strippers, lottery, Playboy Mansion, national radio show. Leave anything out? Oh, and Kendra. So, and Dan Patrick, that son of a bee. So Cuban likes to say, we don't have leaks in our organization. And people believe it. This will come up on the radio every once in a while. I won't name any names, Gavin Dawson. But Gavin will say, well, we all know that the Mavericks are pretty tight-lipped. Okay, now I'm just going to say this to you. Don't tell Cuban I'm saying this. Not particularly. When there's something the Mavericks want you to know, then there's a way of finding out. And then if you've been around here long enough and they recognize your work ethic, that's the key to Carlisle. If Carlisle recognizes that you're a grinder, then he'll cooperate. I texted Rick Carlisle the other night. I didn't get Mark Cuban's approval to have a text exchange with Rick Carlisle. I didn't get Mark Cuban's approval to get Rick Carlisle on with us on the radio the other day. I just call him. My relationship with Donnie Nelson is not a secret. I've talked about other people in the organization, and again, over the years, the trainer Casey Smith and the personnel people and the scouts and the assistant coaches and of course the players. Sometimes it's easy to find out things they want you to know. Obviously, there's an agenda oftentimes. Other times, there's things that they don't want you to know, and you find them out. And what I use as evidence, and I say this respectfully, and I hope these guys are listening, you look over the years at insight into the Mavericks from mainstream journalists who have skin in the game. I'm not talking about just throwing stuff against the wall. Stein, Fisher, McMahon, I'm leaving somebody out. Cooperstein. Those four people have written and broken and spoken a lot of information in the last 20 years. I've been covering the Mavericks for 30 years. And so yes, we have an ability to get information and insight. So it was Gavin Dawson the other day that said to me, well, look at the Kristaps Porzingis thing. That came out of the blue. Nobody saw that coming. And I held my tongue. We saw it coming. Because we broke the story in June of 2017 that the Mavericks called the Knicks and made a trade offer. Now, the only thing they had to offer at the time was pick number 9. So the Knicks laughed at them. But we broke the story on DallasBasketball.com. It was a real story. People read it, people understood it, people acknowledged it, and then it went away. In large part because the Mavericks wanted it to go away. Because the Mavericks organization has laid the groundwork for years on Kristaps Porzingis. Not tampering, but they're friends with his family, and they like him, and they've known KP since he was 14. So no, the Mavericks trade for Porzingis, which happened 2 years after I reported that they were trying to get him, did not come out of the blue. It just took 2 years. And it came via, guess what? Sources. Item. Mo Linguist, the secondary coach, no longer with the Cowboys, did not depart for Michigan because Michigan stole him away from the Cowboys. Sorry. I saw that headline the other day, and I was just nauseated at the inaccuracy. Nor, and I won't mention any names here because I'm too sober and kind, nor did he leave only because Joe Witt came. He wasn't going to be invited back. It didn't work. This is more McCarthy's fault than it is Mo Linguist's fault. Mo Linguist is relatively young in the business, and he's working in the secondary alongside Al Harris, who's been a coach for like a minute, the former Packers player, so he's a McCarthy guy. And they had 2 secondary coaches that didn't know what they were doing relative to coaching, to leading a secondary in the NFL. I don't mean to insult their effort or intelligence. All I must say, when players were whispering to me bad teachers, they were looking back in the secondary. They didn't get taught well by that coaching staff. So with all due respect to Mo Linguist, and maybe he's just better fit for college, or maybe like all of us, he's got something to learn and he'll be better for it. But Michigan didn't steal him, and he didn't leave because of Joe Witt. He was leaving no matter what. They could have hired Joe Blow, and Maurice Linguist was not going to stay here. And oh, by the way, Mike McCarthy, if you're listening, never again hire a defensive back coach when you don't even know his first name. And that's fact. Item. One other thing about coaching hires, and the national media guys, obviously, I love them to death, and most of them. The guys that are, again, the guys that are grinders. Ian Rappaport is a grinder. You don't have to like everything he does, but I'm telling you, Ian Rappaport, he works almost as hard as I do. But I don't like it when a guy gets hired and then we tweet, that's the guy the Chargers always wanted. It was the number 1 guy from the start. He'll be great. There's a reporter saying it. He'll be great. Or, I've known this guy since he was a quality control coach. This is going to be an outstanding. The only reason you're saying that for 1 or 2 reasons. One, because the agent told you that he's getting hired, and therefore you're obliged to say, great hire. And 2, because, yes, you've known him since he was a quality control coach, because he's your friend. Just because he's your friend doesn't mean he's a good hire. By the way, has there ever been a bad hire? Does any national media person, think about it, ever say, oh my gosh, the Lions hired Dan Campbell? What a dip spit he is. No, because the only reason they know who Dan Campbell is because they have a positive relationship with him or with his agent. Only after the guy goes 6-10 does anybody go, boy, he sucks. Item. The new Cowboys defensive line coach is from England. Tally-ho. And I remember him being an intern here in he played in the European League, NFL Europe, and then he had a couple cups of coffee as a practice squad guy in the NFL. And then he came here as an intern in 2014 or something like that. And I remember him when I met him, and I don't know how to pronounce his name. And the reason I bring this up is, when I go to YouTube, and I'm still learning about all this, we have 20,000 of us, so it seems like I know what I'm doing, but believe me, I don't. And then all the videos up on the right, and I see Jeff Kavanaugh's, and yeah, get him, Jeff. And I see Law Nation, go. And then I see this one that's always up there, and they always have everything's breathless. Everything is listen, I report on every blade of grass that moves at the Star, but I don't report it all breathlessly. Otherwise, I wouldn't have any breath. Every blade of grass. So this one's like, they did like a 15-minute interview on the new defensive line coach. Not an interview, a 15-minute presentation on him. And I'm like, you guys, you don't even know who he is. And you're doing a 15-minute deal on how great he is. And I don't even know if you're pronouncing his name right. And I know him. So I'm not doing a segment on Dude anytime very soon until I figure out how to pronounce his name. Richard Sherman is a smart cat. And at 33, I think I'd still take him. I bet you Dan Quinn would too. I bet you he can still do some things. He's long. He's never been a guy that gets by on speed, but he can plant and go. He can do a lot of athletic things and do a lot of smart things. But this one wasn't smart. Richard Sherman goes on the Chris Collinsworth podcast, whatever that is, and insists that Deshaun Watson should leave Houston and go to the Jets. Why? I mean, why in a lot of ways. Why is a 49ers player going on a former Bengals podcast to talk about a Texans player who should go to the Jets? What does Richard Sherman have to do with it? Not that everybody doesn't, well, you've heard me say before, I don't think everybody does deserve to have an opinion, but that's just my opinion. What does Richard Sherman know about it? What does he know about Houston? What does he know? Oh, what does he know about the Jets? Oh, Robert Saleh is the new head coach there, and Richard Sherman likes Robert Saleh. That's why. See? Agenda-driven. He has nothing to do with it. He has no knowledge of the situation, almost assuredly. He's got an agenda. He's got an opinion. He's got an agenda. I'd get out. You're not qualified to say that, Richard. And all you're doing is making the Houston situation, which is dismal, you're just making it worse. So everybody just take a breath. And we've done this in Cowboys Nation, obviously. Take a breath on Dak before you trade him. Take a breath before you say he sucks. Take a breath before you evaluate what you're going to do financially. I mean the Joneses, but also I mean us as observers. Think about it. I must say, and I love the comments that we have down below, but when I see, and not very many of us, of the 20,000 of us, but when I see, by the way, thank you for subscribing. Tell your friends, let's quit jacking around in Cowboys Nation. Let's do it straight. Let's do it machine gun style. When I see the comments saying, Quinn sucks, especially when you spell it S-U-X, because you're so busy, you don't have time to type the other letters. That comment doesn't help anybody. It doesn't. Quinn might suck, but that comment doesn't put another log on the fire of conversation. So, item. The Giants. The Eagles are hiring. I don't know. Is the offensive coordinator, assistant quarterback coach from the Colts? Is that right? I'm sorry I don't have that in front of me. I just kind of skimmed that one. So let me get this straight. The guy that coached Phillip Rivers, he's going to get a head coaching job? Is that the right guy? Is that right? All I know about it is the Eagles got caught with their pants down here. That was not their plan. I have not checked if this guy is a Bob Lamont client, by the way. I would put $1 that he probably is. But it does mean for the Cowboys, Kellen Moore is staying, and Bones Fossil is staying. So good for them. Glad they got their interviews. Glad they got their names into the cycle. And then maybe next year, it won't just be for show, which is certainly what Bones Fossil was this year, and maybe what Kellen Moore was as well. But all I know is, item, didn't the Cowboy coaching staff go 6-10? Why does everybody want Cowboy coaches off a 6-10 team? A bad teaching 6-10 team. I'll hire him. Item. Andy Dalton and Denver being connected. The Broncos. You want to go be a backup to Drew Lock, who they're semi-invested in? If that's your only opportunity, young man. And Andy Dalton, you've seen, we've got 3 videos of me and Andy Dalton in a big exclusive. Young man. Stay here. Help Dak, be Dak's backup. Keep your family here. Stay close to your family. Don't move the 3 babies all over the country. If you recall, and go find that video. It's really good. He's great. He talks about one of the reasons that he signed with Dallas was it was a COVID time and he needed to be with his family. Still a COVID time. Stay here. Item. I cannot let go of the breathless reports that Dak Prescott, the rehab is going so well, he's going to be better than ever. Totally possible if medical science has invented a new kind of ankle. Item. The late Marcus Paul, Cowboys strength coach, will now be replaced by somebody he mentored, Harold Nash Jr. Harold Nash has been doing this for a long time. Marcus Paul was 54. Harold Nash is 50. He'd been, he's got rings too. So, what a great legacy that Marcus Paul created, and the friendship, because he was a mentor to other strength coaches in the league, including those who are African American, including Mr. Nash, Coach Nash. So, what a great legacy that Marcus Paul created, and imagine how proud Marcus Paul would be that he's being replaced by his little brother here. It's pretty cool, and I'm a fan. Item. It was Cole Beasley who, when he left Dallas, said, the facilities in Buffalo are better. I can't imagine that's true. And the commitment to winning, I'm paraphrasing, is higher. I can imagine that that's true. That's possible. And it's hard to argue with wins and losses. And it's hard to argue with Beasley's testimony. This reminds me again of the possibility that I bring up quite a bit, that the Cowboys are such a marketing company that football's over there. In Buffalo, marketing, they got Kmart's with folding tables. That's the marketing. Des Bryant hoodie coming your way. Probably momentarily, because by the time you read this, we might be at the 20,000 mark. So keep it here, and we will keep you informed on all things Cowboys. Fish. And machine gun fish. Out.